UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I'm your host for today, Brandon Shea Mutella, and joining me are my ever-constant co-hosts, Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi and Justin Oser. Chrissie, how are you doing, you meat sack?
Meat sack. Yeah, I'm just trying to get my cat's butt out of the front of the computer, the camera, so sorry about that, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Very appropriate for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And I don't know, where's Justin? I can't see him. Did you eat him?
No.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Justin.
Sorry, I just came back from an unsanctioned mission. Hope that was okay.
No, it's not. We're going to have a conversation about that after we talk with Admiral Vance.
Uh-oh. Are you going to demote me to maybe, what's below co-host? Assistant co-host?
You're going to learn to love latrines. Let's just deal with that. So, excellent. Right on.
Okay.
Well, that's our regular host. But of course, as always, we've got ourselves a wonderful guest. Joining us today is the wonderful Trek novelist, Jeff Lang. Welcome to Infinite Diversity, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. Well, first, normally what we do is we talk a little bit about the news before we get into our discussion of the episode so far. Justin, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one here. We've got the recent news of the death of Herb Solow. And Herb Solow is the person who actually ended up selling Star Trek to... I guess it was Desilu at the time, right? NBC.
Well, yeah, that was sad news. He was 89 years old, and I think, he is acknowledged quite a bit, but maybe not as much as some of the other people you think about for the original series, like Gene Roddenberry or Gene Kuhn or people like that. But yeah, he was an executive at Desilu, and basically Gene Roddenberry had come to him with the pitch for this thing, Star Trek, and he kind of liked what it was and helped Roddenberry to pitch it to NBC and was very much a champion of the show and kind of helped it along in the first couple of seasons and suggested some important changes, because originally Gene Roddenberry had Spock as having red skin and a tail, and Herb Solow said, you know what, that's going a little too far in like the devilish direction, so let's take that out. So there's a lot of detail in the Trek movie article that we'll link to in the show notes. He was, just absolutely critical and essential for getting Star Trek going and helping take this pitch Gene Roddenberry had and really, selling it to NBC. And also in that Trek movie article, there's a really interesting interview that he did. I think it was in the 90s, where he talked about the genesis of Star Trek in the beginning, and it's very interesting. People should definitely check it out. But yeah, that was sad news, but definitely one of the very important figures in getting Star Trek going to the point that we're talking about it, 56 years after it was originally pitched, which is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting because I'll admit that this is a name that I don't know, in my fandom. Like, I'm not familiar with this name, so it was interesting to learn about him over the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the name rang a bell for me, but I didn't. I had to go look him up, see who he was. So.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, were you familiar with the name?
Very much so, yeah. I remember I was a kid who watched and rewatched the original series in UHF back in the day, and on the end theme, his was always the name that was projected over. I don't remember the name of the character, but the Corbinite maneuver. Yes, the really scary that they always showed at the very end, the really guy.
Yeah,
and his name was always there. And I remember also reading. This is a long time ago, but the first making of Star Trek book, they talked about him a lot in that.
Yeah, and he actually co-wrote a book called Inside Star Trek: The Real Story with Bob Justman back in 1996.
I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, very important figure, and
But he kind of left the franchise though after the first series, right? He was not somebody that Roddenberry brought back in for Next Generation or any of the other.
No, and I think
am I right
I think
about
that's
that?
right, and I think most of his involvement was in the first 2 seasons of the original series. But no, he didn't really have any involvement in TNG or anything else in Star Trek, as far as I could tell.
Did he stay in TV? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think there is some stuff that he did, into the 70s, but yeah, there's I don't know too much about the rest of his career, but I think he was also instrumental in helping Mission Impossible to come to to be a show. So that was something else he was selling.
Sense, yeah. Same studio.
So
sure.
that was very important as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, sad news, but he's we're probably going to see a few more of these over the next few years. I mean, Star Trek celebrities are getting a little older, especially from the original series. I mean, 56 years since it's started filming, right? So, with the cage and whatnot. So,
for reasons too complicated to explain, I had a reason yesterday to look up how old Shatner is.
Mm-hmm.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's 89. So,
Yeah.
I think he's 89.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
God.
Same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
89's pretty good. I'm not sneezing at that one.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sad news, but it also gives us,
course.
moments to reflect, like how many people helped to bring this thing that we loved to what it is today. So yeah.
Right. Excellent. Well, let's move on to our discussion for today's episode. Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 6, Scavengers. We'll start with our initial thoughts and first impressions. Jeff, since you're a guest and it's your first time on the show, can you give us a little bit of your history with Discovery itself, if you've been watching from the beginning, and then what do you think of this episode so far?
I have not been watching since the beginning. We did not go for the CBS All Access when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up buying the first season on Blu-ray a while ago, a long time ago. Watched the first, 5 or 6 episodes. Thought it was okay. Just, okay. Bought the second season on Blu-ray. Still haven't cracked the plastic on that. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Okay.
And then during the pandemic, we just decided, screw it. Let's just, buy some more put some more money into streaming stuff. So I got CBS All Access. First thing I watched was Lower Decks, which we could talk about some other day if you want to. And then picked up watching Discovery. And then Justin got in touch with me and said, do you want to do a podcast? And I said, yeah, I really enjoy that. And he's like, okay, it's going to be about the 3rd season. I was like, oh, fine. I'll rip through these 2 seasons. And no, I didn't. I never did. But I started watching season 3 about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And have really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
And a thought came to me. Now, the thing about the first season I realized was it felt... What's a way to put this? It felt like I was watching a cover band.
Mm-hmm.
And season 3 feels like it's like, okay, you went and saw this cover band a few years ago, and then you came and see them again, and you find out, they turned into a band.
Mm-hmm.
The season 3 feels like these people figured out what they wanted to do. It's still Star Trek, but it's something else. Mm-hmm. It's not, we're going to do some version of the other Star Trek shows again. I've just been really impressed. So I am going, now that I'm caught up on season 3, I am going to go back and now can you tell me when it gets good? I mean, not that it's bad.
Well, that's a very subjective thing because I've loved it since the beginning, but I know others have struggled with season 1 and 2. I mean, I think generally speaking, people felt that season 2 was an improvement on season 1 and that season 3 is an improvement on season 2. So but I think that's a very subjective question. I don't know how Brandon and Chrissy would answer it.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, going through season 1, I was really enjoying it. It was different, and I had problems with it. And the last 2 episodes of season 1, I felt were a bit of a train wreck. And most of season 2 I thought was pretty darn good, but I didn't really like the Red Angel over story that was going on. So it's just different. There's different things about it. I'm very happy with season 3 so far. So it's all different, and I think Chrissy's really enjoyed it since the beginning.
Yeah, I've liked it. I did like season 2 better than season 1. I think bringing in Pike, Anson Mount's Pike, has something to do with that. And I don't mean that in a prurient way, but just it broadened what was going on. And season 3, Jeff, what you said right here is just it's a soft reboot. You were able to pick it up and watch it without having seen all of the rest before. So,
but I'm really curious now to go back and find out how it got there.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Good, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting to get that perspective because I think we have seen it all, the 3 co-hosts, and we've tended to have guests who've seen it all. So it's interesting from that perspective because I think there are some fans that are there where they were like, this isn't my thing, and maybe they're picking it back up in season 3. But I mean, definitely, if you want to see a bit more of how it got to where it is in season 3, I definitely recommend checking out season 2 first, and because that whole arc kind of leads into where they are in season 3. So
right.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting. So I have a friend who's never watched Star Trek, and he actually messaged me the other night. He's like, I want to check out Star Trek. Where do I start? Because it's overwhelming. And I said,
such a big question.
It's a big question. I said, start with TNG, and I gave him a few episodes. He's like, I want action. So I'm like, so I gave him a couple, and he's like, actually, we decided we're going to start with Discovery. And he's like, so he started Discovery, not knowing anything about Star Trek. And he's like, I'm really loving it. But I mean, for me, some of the problems I had were with the writing. And he jumps in and he messages me after episode 3. He's like, why are all these people treating Michael Burnham like this? I don't think she's responsible for starting the war. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, yep, I absolutely agree with that. So I thought it was kind of funny that somebody completely coming into blind to Star Trek felt the same way on that kind of initial beginning of the series premise. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just been a variety of reactions because I have a friend who had been who I know through some music stuff, but had been into Star Trek and watched TNG and whatever, but hadn't seen Star Trek for a while, and he's like, I want to check out this Discovery thing, and he loved all of season 1 and season 2. He's like, this is so great, I love it. So I mean, it just really depends. It's different for different people, right? So yeah.
So what were your thoughts on this episode, Jeff, on Scavengers?
Overall, a very solid entry. I thought it was. I mean, it's definitely a okay, we're going to build on things from here story. It's broadening. It's giving us another glimpse into another part of this new continuity, whatever you want to call it, the future history. I thought that the central plot was solid. It definitely gave Michael something interesting to do. I love it that she, said, well, who can I get to go off and do something borderline illegal? Oh, I know. That was a lot of fun. A little bit of that felt to me a bit contrived, but anytime you can get Michelle Yeoh to walk around and insult people for, I don't know, half an hour, do it. Just let her go. Just, set her loose. So that was really fun. I have to say, from the beginning of this season, my fondness for Book is, I may be a little salacious. He just is such a fun character. That said, I realized watching this one today that almost entirely rests on the shoulders of the actor. Because as a character, who is this guy? I mean, I really felt that at the end of this episode. It's like, oh, I love this guy. Wait, this is the third episode he's in? Who is he? So there was that little not so very happy part. And I thought the secondary plot with Stamets and Adira, thank you, was just a lovely little thing. And those two actors obviously have some great chemistry, and I really hope that they're just going to continue on with that storyline and continue to build on that. But overall, a very solid story. I think that it's nice that there's finally I wrote some notes. Oh, Emerald Chain.
Yes.
Finally, a pretty interesting adversary. good, solid adversary. So what did you guys think?
Chrissy, we'll jump to you. What are your thoughts on the episode?
I thought it was a very good episode. It had that very Star Trek feel of we're going to break a bunch of people who've been enslaved out of where they've been enslaved. Yeah, that's that.
It took me right back to the Circle trilogy and DS9,
yes,
where they break out Lee Alice and all the people. Yeah,
and that was on the other day on BBC. All right, and so I liked the episode, but I'm starting to feel like this is just one more example of Burnham rebelling against her Vulcan upbringing, against the concept of Starfleet, against the concept of a chain of command, all of that. You know, she did, well, it turned out to be right, but she just keeps breaking that chain of command, and it's unusual because most of the time we are following the person who's in charge. So if the captain decides to go off, go rogue, okay, then there's a little more leeway than somebody else. So I don't know. I feel like at the end of this, we're going to look back on it and go, okay, so that was the equivalent of a Vulcan teenage rebellion, and now she's going to be back to normal. Maybe? Yeah.
Well, let's stick a pin in that.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm sure we got lots to say about that, because I got a lot to say about this too. So, but before we get there, Justin, what'd you think of Scavengers?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's interesting because we're 6 episodes in, and I think for most of the season so far, I've been saying, I love it. It's better, even better than last week, some of the best stuff in Star Trek. For me, this felt like my least favorite episode, even though there was a lot that I really liked about it, right? But because I think that there is some really good stuff going on. But there are a few things where I'm like, I'm not quite sure where this is going, but I still really enjoyed it. The Saru Burnham stuff, I think, is very interesting. There was also, I think, a great Saru Tilly scene that I hope we talk about a little bit, because I really love that. Jeff, you mentioned the stuff with Stamets and Adira. I think that's really great. So there's great character stuff. The stuff with Burnham and Giorgio on this mission, I think their interaction is really interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk about what is happening with Giorgio's flashbacks, which I think is really interesting. But when you actually get to this planet Hunhao that they get to, I mean, these are pretty straight up evil people that they're proving to you that they're evil people, and so that felt to me like a little bit predictable, or it could have gone a different place. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed it and kind of want to see where it's going.
I think I agree with you, Justin. I liked it. It was good, but it's my least favorite episode of the season so far. It was fine. I mean, I didn't hate the episode. There's nothing that I disliked in the episode. I just don't think it was as strong as the first 5 episodes of the season so far. So, I mean, I agree with you. There's definitely a lot of really rich stuff to talk about in here, right? But the Burnham rescuing plot, I think, is the weak part of the show, which is weird because that's kind of the A part of the show. So, but let's jump in. Let's talk about. So first, we start the episode, and we've got the retrofitting of the Discovery. Now, for me, first thing as a Star Trek fan, I'm like, why are they calling it the A?
Because it's
right. So
yes.
Well, I have some thoughts on that I saw people give. I mean, first of all, it's very different, but also it's a ship that was supposed to have been destroyed in the past, and maybe they just want to present it outside of the people in the know at Starfleet headquarters as some kind of tribute to that instead of the original ship.
That's the most reasonable explanation I've heard. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
So, for me, the problem that I have with this is, okay, so, I compare this to the last time we had a major retrofit on a ship, right? And it didn't become the Enterprise A. It was still the Enterprise, right? And there was far more changes done to that ship than there was to this one. Now, a lot of people are online saying, oh, this is to hide the fact that it's a time-traveling ship so that people don't understand this. And I'm like, well, if I've got a 57 Plymouth Fury and I change the paint color and I put some tail fins on it and a spoiler, it's still a 57 Chevy.
I don't know. As a Star Trek fan, you need to put a -A on that thing.
So, right.
And I was just thinking the tail fins are more that era than this one.
Yeah.
And
but I
then
mean, it's pretty different with the detachable nacelles and like all the upgrades they get, and it really does look different. I would say the difference between the 1031 and the 1031A is a bigger difference than like the original Enterprise and the refit, I think. But
yeah, I don't know. It's the Enterprise, like the nacelles are different on the Enterprise. Like the bodies, like it literally is not even the same ship. Like it's completely different. But whatever. The only thing that I sit then when I look at this here is the 1031A. I'm like, oh, so what they're saying is that Discovery wasn't important enough or did anything important enough that in 930 years they never made another Discovery A. This is the first time.
Oh, that's an interesting... I never even thought of that.
Now, a lot of people are coming to the defense, oh, it was a classified mission. No, it was still destroyed, and Vance knows that it was destroyed, right? So, I mean, I don't know.
So it was destroyed, and nobody in the last 900 years decided to have one that had A, B, C, or whatever, so they have to put A on. I don't understand the problem with that, but...
It's just calling out the fact that this is not a very important crew, and they didn't really do anything significant.
It's live action
also,
Lower Decks.
The name Discovery is such a classic name for us. I mean, there have been so many, in our era, there have been several ships that have been named Discovery. I mean, wasn't there probes? Space shuttle, yeah. It seems like they've used the names of space shuttles for a lot of the ships in Star Trek. Mm-hmm. So I would think that Discovery would be one of the ones that would have remained. So the fact that they haven't ever had another ship named Discovery...
It's not that they haven't had another one named Discovery, it's that they haven't had another 1031 for some reason. But I think you're getting fixated on the letter, Brandon.
I am. So, I mean, like that, you could call that nitpicking and whatnot, but I thought that was kind of an interesting point, because they call it the Voyager J. Like, the Voyager, under Janeway, was such an important ship and did such important stuff that they needed to maintain the legacy of that ship.
I think
same with the Enterprise.
For Voyager, you could also argue that, like, all of the Federation at some point knew what was happening and that they were trying to get home, and that was like a really like big thing everybody knew about. But not everybody knew about Discovery in the 23rd century. It was something that was on, more classified missions or things that people wouldn't have generally known about. So I think it's fine. But but
nobody would have known about that ship with the person that started the Klingon War on it.
They would have at the
time.
Can
I make a couple comments about the retrofitting? Just because I made a couple notes.
Yeah.
Does anybody else find something wrong with this whole detached nacelles thing?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
I think it's an interesting idea. I think we need to see how they're actually going to put it into action.
Okay.
But it is unusual. And there have been a lot of people being like, Eagle Massa makes these ships. Like, how are they going to make a model of that thing with detached nacelles? But yeah, it's kind of an odd idea. I want to see how they go about it, because like they made a point of showing them detached, but we haven't seen the Discovery in flight yet with them. So.
Have they shown any ship in flight yet with detached nacelles?
No, I think that no. Well, I think actually it's not easy to see, but I think the Voyager J actually has detached nacelles. But it's like, but the only thing you've been able to see from that is I think they released like one of the posters that CBS does sometimes for episodes, and it showed that and it looked like it had detached nacelles. But we haven't seen one in flight yet. No.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about the detached nacelles. Like, it's an interesting concept, and just because of what we know with Star Trek so far, I mean, that's really not much different than, like, if you looked at something like the Grissom, right, on Star Trek 3, where they, while everything was attached, they had like a big no neck or anything in the middle at the time, and when that came out, people were like, what is this? And even when the Cerritos was shown, right? We recently had the Cerritos from Lower Decks. The initial thing was like, oh, look at this ship. There's no neck. How are they going to get down there and whatnot? And it's science fiction. We got holographic badges now, too. And we've got...
I like that a lot.
I'm more concerned with how the site-to-site transporting thing is working, because they're not given a destination or anything.
Well, actually, okay, so I think in the Ready Room, which Will Wheaton hosts, they had Mario Moreira, who does the props. And he was talking about, because they had this whole system of how you would do that. I think that there's actually like something that you can do to tap it to go back to like a home position, but otherwise that you need to actually set what the coordinates are for it before you use it as a transporter.
And we actually haven't seen anybody using it. We've seen Linus tap it to go away, but maybe the holographic imagery comes out and you tell it where to go that way.
I think
Wasn't Book doing that in the first episode?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, he
programming
took
certain
time to.
coordinates, Yeah.
Yeah, and it took time for Book to. He's like, I got to reset this. It takes like 30 seconds.
I just want to mention something because I don't think they said in the episode, but they've been calling it a Tri-Com badge because it's the tricorder, communicator, transporter, and does some. I thought that was really cool tech. And it was fun.
Julian's fries.
Yeah, it should be a replicator too. Like you should just tap it and the food comes out like 3 feet in front of your face. But I don't know if you'll come back to this, Brandon. But the 1031A has some implications for Calypso, right?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Do you want to talk about
we
that?
We could talk
now or
about
later?
that right now if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
So I'll go back to what I said a couple episodes in that. Okay, so at the start of the season, I'm like, how is Calypso going to tie into this? I was certain it was going to tie into it. And then a couple episodes later, I'm like, okay, so I think what we're going to find out is that they had an idea and then they decided to go a different route. And I think that's clear now that that's what's happened. They had an idea to go to the future and they've changed their minds because that's like that's not the A that we saw in Calypso.
Yeah, I mean, there's two possibilities. One possibility is somehow before they drop it off in a nebula for 1,000 years, that it for whatever reason gets retrofitted back to the original Discovery, or Calypso's just in an alternate timeline, which is my preferred one right at the moment.
Right,
but
yeah. Which is unfortunate
I think
because
it's fine because I love Calypso as a standalone story. It doesn't have to connect for me, but I also love that we saw Zora a couple episodes ago, and I hope that we hear that voice and that personality again.
Because, you know, what I would have liked to have seen, actually, like, let's say we got the 1031A and it was a different ship. I think I would have liked to have seen that they had learned what the technology was with the spore drive, and they were able to adapt that with Adira and able to adapt that and give it to all the ships so that we can suddenly
they might
use the mushroom network.
They might get
but
there.
But then, because of the dilithium on the ship, they had to like hide the ship somewhere in order to keep that dilithium safe.
That would have been interesting.
I think I would have liked something like that.
Okay. I mean, we'll see, because I think by deliberately bringing in a connection, there is something they're going to play with. It's not like they're just dropping it and like, forget about that. So I don't know where it might go, but it does create some complications that I didn't expect.
Right.
So.
Now, Jeff, you may not have seen it. There is a short check called Calypso, and it aired between season 1 and 2, and the Discovery has been abandoned for like 930 years, and this guy comes on board and spends some time. There's no crew there. It's been abandoned. The ship itself has a different voice and everything. So a couple episodes ago, when the computer had that glitch and its voice started to change, that's the voice that we heard that the computer had in Calypso.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And there was another mention.
They have to bring that all together.
And Jeff,
or not, as you were saying. It could be
and that short trek Calypso, Jeff, is only about 15 minutes. For me, it's one of my favorite things in Star Trek. I thought they did like a wonderful, wonderful job with this little short.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Check it out.
It's really good.
My second comment about that opening, and I don't know what your policy is about cursing. Yes, no.
We try not to. We try not to.
Okay, then I'll just say programmable matter is as distracting AF. I mean, if I were on a bridge where people were like, oh, and things and bringing this, I mean, I don't know. Their brains obviously can adapt to this, but my first thought is if I had to be surrounded by that, my brain would just blah. It was cool. It was super cool. And I know that they're not going to go as crazy with it as they did in those little, like, oh, we're showing you how it works clips. But I absolutely appreciated the pilot's reaction of, I'm not entirely sure about this. Can I just have my old,
I don't know. I kind of love that Detmer was like, do we need all this? And Bryce is like, hell yeah, we do. He's like, this is cool. And then like 2 minutes later, he's learned how to use it, and he's like, shh. I don't know. It adapts to your biosigns or something, but I thought it was cool. But I think that's interesting. Distracting, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Detmer because with her and kind of the PTSD that she's going through, I can see us getting to an episode where she just freezes and doesn't know how to pilot the ship. Because it's new technology and stuff like that. Like I could, I can see it coming to that.
They're setting that up.
Yeah. Which, that'll be interesting too. So, excellent. Well, any more thoughts on the upgrades to the ship, Chrissy?
All right. So, I don't remember there ever being any other ship name that was used with a different number sequence, other than the NXs, which are indicative of experimental.
With a different number sequence.
Yeah, because
Like,
you were saying
so-
it's Discovery 1031A, 1031 versus Discovery
Well, yes,
1705.
yes, actually, because, well,
The
I might
Enterprise
not
with
be
the
remembering.
NX-01.
with the NX-01, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
but
there's
that's experimental. I'm setting that aside.
yeah. Okay, so there's also, all right, I think this is part of a, is it just part of a deleted scene? But in Measure of a Man, when Picard is talking to Admiral Nakamura, they both served on a Reliant, which is a different Reliant than the one that you see in Star Trek 2. So, but that's a
Well, of
deleted
course.
scene.
But
So I think it can happen with with the same name but different number. Just trying to think of another example. Defiant,
think of it.
but that's also an NX, isn't it?
oh,
Yeah, and see, in Defiant,
Yeah.
they just gave it the exact same number and didn't even give it an A, right? And they just rebranded another ship. So,
yeah, which is considered to be incredibly unlucky to rename a ship, but that's a whole other issue. Get into it if we
Oh,
talk
but
about
actually,
DS9.
no, it doesn't.
I was
think
talking
it
about the DS9
We had
Defiant.
Yeah, so there's the DS9 Defiant, right? And then
Yeah.
there's the Defiant from the original Star Trek.
But that's also like an experimental ship, right? Anyway.
yeah.
Although I think
Okay,
that
so then maybe that's.
I think the NX-01 from Enterprise isn't meant to be experimental, but that's just the class name. But that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
because the other
anyways,
ones were
so
NX02 and 03.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a moot point. No, I thought I'd bring it up.
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
Yeah, no, you've taken. We've gone far enough. I couldn't think of any, and you've come up with some, so that takes that right out. But I would say that there's a possibility that the name Discovery got put into the same category as something like Challenger. And so if you have these ships that have been destroyed under whatever circumstances, you don't want to name a new ship that.
If it's like a big tragedy, all hands lost kind of
Yeah,
thing. Although they
'cause it's-
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm just putting it out there again. And also, if it's supposed to be classified and you name another ship that, they're like, well, what happened to the other one? Then people
Which
start
was the
asking
one that got
questions.
destroyed? That was the Challenger, right?
Yeah. Challenger
Because wasn't
and
that Geordie's
Endeavour.
ship?
No, Chrissy, you're okay. In what way are you referencing Challenger? Inside Star
Oh.
Trek, or are we talking about the space shuttle?
Excuse me, the real Challenger.
Yes,
Right,
okay.
yeah, the
in
real
real
Challenger
life
got
in
destroyed.
'86,
Yeah.
the first shuttle disaster that we had, because we haven't had another Challenger, and everybody understands why. But yeah,
Okay.
that's Geordie's ship. I am batting 1,000 today.
That's okay.
Hey,
No
next
worries.
thing.
Okay, well, let's move on to our next topic then. So my next topic is, where the hell is David Cronenberg?
He's doing his thing elsewhere. But I know you
nonsense,
want
the show.
more of him, but he was not in this episode.
He was wonderful.
We will see more of
He was
him, I
great.
think.
Yeah, he was
I-
great.
Okay.
I
To
think we'll
figure
see
out what's
more
going
of
with
him.
Giorgio, I think.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Okay. Serious next topic is Adira and Stamets. So let's jump to Adira and Stamets. What a touching story this was. I really like this. This was really moving to see that conversation between them. And to have even though one was quote unquote not there, to have the three of them talking and have Gray be like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
It was just, it was really touching because they've been through a similar type experience, while not exactly the same. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on this one here? Because if you haven't seen all of the original Discovery, so some of the backstory for...
I do know the back. I went and read up on it. 'Cause
Okay,
I thought,
good, yeah.
okay, I need to understand this.
Okay.
It's an interesting. I really felt like the again, the selling point of that whole story was the empathy of the actors. Stamets is such an oddball, and for him to made that kind of a decision to reach out and engage with somebody felt to me like this is his character evolving from the version of himself that he was earlier. And I don't know if he could have evolved that way if he hadn't been through the trauma of his partner dying.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how they handle all that. I love the Doctor. I think he's a wonderful character. But I only seeing this group of episodes, I have not seen enough of their interaction to know everything about their relationship. That said, I thought that scene that they shared in their sleeping in their quarters felt as much like a longtime married couple talking as anything I've seen on TV, let alone Star Trek. They have such a they really just like hook into each other in a way that I completely buy that these people have been together for a long time and have been through all kinds of crap, including one of them dying. And without having that experience, I don't know if he could have, had the ability to reach out. So it's a lovely moment when they have that conversation. I was very pleased by that. What did you guys think?
Chrissy?
I thought that was absolutely wonderful. It's going to create an opportunity to humanize Stamets further. And I hesitate to use that word, but I can't think of a better one, because he was so standoffish for so long. And
when it started off when we
the resident prig.
First saw him, he was very grumpy, very much like did not want people around him, and this is quite different, right?
Yeah.
Lurker.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, Jeff, we're referencing stuff from early season 1 of Discovery.
So, and so I think that's going to help. It's going to help bring him to a better place, which is going to help bring him and Culber to a better place and bring Adira to a better place and all of that. What bothered me about that scene is that first of all, let me go back. Stamets seems annoyed by the fact that Adira's messing around with the stuff in the spore drive room until they show him that it's the interface has been reset, right? Yeah. Which is fantastic. But then why is it Adira that's the one who says, I can fix those inputs for you? Once they have the reset...
the same thing.
Yeah. Once they have the reset interface, then wouldn't you think it'd be Culber to say, hey, you don't need those anymore. We'll deal with it.
Yeah. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
I can do something about that for you.
Yeah.
Since he put him in the first place.
I wondered that too.
Well, let's say there's an off-screen scene with her talking to Culber about it. Or Adira talking to Culber
and
about
that's... that's just as good, except for the fact that he goes, oh, so we have Adira to thank for this, which indicates that he had no idea.
Yeah.
But not that there aren't other doctors on the ship.
I got a different interpretation there.
So, yeah, go ahead, please.
So when Stamets comes in, and again, so it's with some of the dialogue and the way that it's delivered and whatnot, it's not clear. It took me a couple of viewings, but I think that when Stamets comes in and he's like, this is not ergonomically set up or whatever it is, he's complaining about something else. And Adira says, don't ask me, that's above my pay grade, ask the Admiral. So that particular thing was done by Vance and his crew. Whatever he's complaining about was done by Vance and his crew, right? She's just sitting there working. And then she says, oh, by the way, I did this. He didn't seem annoyed by it. He seemed like curious once she said that, right? So that's kind of how I interpret that scene.
Well, I guess I wasn't paying attention. This shows you the wording. I wasn't paying attention to what it was that he was talking about. I was just reading the annoyed and assumed it was directed at her. And I think you're probably right now that you're explaining that out. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And the first two times I saw the episode, I thought the same thing, but it was once I was watching it on my lunch break at work with the subtitles on for notes that I realized, no, he's talking about something that somebody else did that he wasn't made aware of, right?
Actually, you made me remember something I wanted to ask you guys, because I feel like I missed something. What is her job?
Nothing. We don't know.
I'm sorry.
We don't. I think
no pips, no.
They're not Starfleet. That goes back to that first episode.
They let them roam around the engine room of their experimental ship that has the. And
I think they probably given permission for that
Mm-hmm.
because Adira would have the benefit of more recent technology. But yeah, it's a good question.
And tall. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have the Admiral's memories and information. So
yeah, but I don't think they've really. They haven't really gone over like what is Adira's place on Discovery, and also in the previous episode, they went to the Starfleet headquarters, and it was like, okay, Adira, we need to take you for some diagnostics. And then Adira is just back this week. We don't know what happened with that. So I wonder if there'll be more that's filled in. Yeah. Right. But I want to talk about the Adira Stamets thing for a minute, because I think that scene where they're in the mess hall and Stamets, sees this person who's recently on the crew, very different experiences and much younger and like all this kind of stuff. But I think it's interesting that he sees something in Adira that he had seen in himself and is able to it's one of those things I think that happens for us in life sometimes. You go through an experience, you know what that's meant for you. You see someone else starting to go through that, and you can, give them some help and guidance if they want it. So I thought that was like a wonderful thing to see. And I think he's seeing this and he's like, there's something else there. And I like that he goes up and he's like, I don't think you're crazy. I'm just curious. Tell me what's going on. And then it's not making the judgment like this person's crazy or what a weird story. But I think he even says like, you don't even know the stuff that happens on this ship. This is not crazy compared to other stuff that happens. So I don't know. It was just a nice kind of like mentoring kind of moment. And I hope that relationship kind of continues. Yeah, that's what I want to say. There was one thing I thought was a little weird because in the previous scene, you see this gel stuff and it's like, oh, that'll be cool. But then it seems like later Adira is again emphasizing like you don't need these like shunts in the. It felt like a duplication or something was flipped around. I don't know if you guys felt that way. No? Okay.
No.
So maybe that's like, just me thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was because...
So what's the consensus? Go ahead.
I was going to say maybe it was, again, because she was talking about it as opposed to there being a scene where Stamets is saying, oh, I don't need to have these things in my arms anymore. Let's, And maybe anybody can use the spore drive now, too.
I don't know if that's happened yet, because I think it would still require the tardigrade DNA. I think they're going to come back to what Tilly was working on with the dark matter interface.
Yes.
But, so I don't think anybody can use it just yet.
Is the consensus that Gray is really there, or is that something that we still feel is a question mark?
No, it's in her head. It's in Adira's head for sure. Yeah, it's in their head. So.
No. But I mean, is she processing some sort of trauma? And at some point he'll disappear.
Well,
or is it really an intelligence that is coexisting? Like Stamets said, usually a trill is a memory.
Yeah, although
not a persona.
Although we have seen places in Deep Space Nine where I think with Jadzia Jantara, where it's like personalities can manifest in real people as part of this kind of cultural tradition. I wonder if where they're going now that I think about it is that there is the consciousness still there, and maybe it's actually possible for that consciousness somehow to manifest physically in another body for Gray to be real for everybody. I don't know if that's where they're going, but
yeah, I hope they don't go there because they would need a different actor. But I don't have a problem with her having this conversation because yes,
what do you mean you need a different?
Jantara,
what do you mean you need a different actor? I mean, like it's been proven it's been proven in Picard. You can just make somebody that looks like you and just put the consciousness in there, right?
Sure, yes,
everybody's hologram
easily, yes. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that wonderful finale.
I know you
to
don't
Star
like
Trek
that,
Picard.
which I love,
yes, it was so wonderful.
That's another thing. Yeah.
But what I mean is that, so I don't have a problem with her having these conversations with Gray, and in my mind, when I believe it's the Jantara, so that one where all the souls were taken out and put into somebody else's body, and then she could have a conversation with them. So rather than it being external and speaking with somebody, she's processing it internally. So I'm okay with that. It's just an extension of what we already saw in Deep Space Nine for myself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Jantara, though. It's the episode when Ezri was talking to.
No, we're thinking about the Jantara. The thing with Duran is a Duran. Different thing that's maybe similar.
But it's the same thing, isn't it?
That is more
Not
akin,
quite.
I think, to what's going on with Adira.
Yeah,
because you had Ezri talking to one of the hosts.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else saw him. She saw him in the mirror.
I guess it is more like that than the Jantara, where it would manifest in someone's physical body. Yeah.
But the Jantara does indicate that the personalities of these people still exist.
Right.
So I think you need both to account for it.
Okay.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with it. I'm just interested to see how it develops. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could-
And I'm glad that they're acknowledging it, calling it out. Somebody else is aware of it.
Yes.
And Jeff, like I said last time, I hope we don't go Baltar and 6 from Battlestar Galactica, where we got these awkward things that we're dancing around for the seasons that they're on the show for. I'm glad that it's there and they can just address it and not have to dance around it. So I'm very happy that they've addressed it right away.
It is good that somebody knows about it, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And it's possible that this could be a side effect of her not being of them not being a Trill.
I assume that was part of it. Yeah, that's going to be, I think, ultimately the explanation for it. But I just want to say one more thing about the Stamets Adira thing. I really hope it does not turn into I've grown close to this person and they're very important to me. Oh, they're dead.
I don't think that's good. Well, actually, we know that that's not going to happen, because I don't know if we had talked about this, but they've already they've already started talking about Adira and Gray being in season 4. So
yeah, it was an article that was addressed because when Hugh Culber was killed in season 1, there was outroar from the LGBT community because they felt it was a part of that barrier gaze trope, and we are introduced to Gray and they're killed in the first scene that we see them. And so the actors that played Adira and Gray addressed it in a conversation and said, like, no, like, this is a part of the arc that we originally planned for this character. We're still around. We're filming season 4 right now. And so, like, it wasn't a secret. But I mean, like, that's also part of the frustration, because I said this back in season 1. If it's a trope that's going to upset people, how important is it that you have to do that trope?
Right, and that's what I said in that discussion. Yeah. Like, would Gray need to have died, or could it have been someone that they knew along the way, right? And that the information you're really getting is from Senatol, but they've made this decision, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, right.
And
we're still watching.
It may end up being relevant. It may end up being that Gray needs to be dead for some reason.
I don't know. I think a character needing to be dead always needs a really good reason. But
since we don't know they exist until after they're dead. I think
that's why I felt it was maybe a bit different than Culber, who you get to know like in the present, and then he's brutally murdered. But that was, Anyway, I guess we'll see where they're going.
Mycelial network or something like that, where you have to be non-corporeal. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I mean by have to be dead. I mean, like, there's a story point that requires them to not have a body.
Right. Which is what they told us was going to happen with Culber, and I'm still waiting for, because I still don't think they had to kill him. But
what did we just talk about? That with that experience, Stamets is able to help Adira. So there is something to what happened with that now, but
that's fine. They could retcon that, and they can, like, that's fine. But you cannot tell me that when they snapped Hugh Culber's head in season 1, they're like, oh damn, this is going to play into that conversation with Gray and Adira in season 3.
No, of course,
way.
No way, of course not. But I am saying that it does have some payoff and meaning, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's. Anything else we want to talk about Adira and Stamets?
No, just looking forward to more.
Then let us move on to Georgiou and the rescue plot with Burnham.
Yeah.
Excellent. Justin, let's start with you this time. What do you think of this one?
Well, so let me ask this question, because the two things are bound up. Do we want to just first talk about, like, the actual rescue and then talk about Georgiou's flashbacks, or how do you want to do that?
You take the lead. You do it. Where do you want to go?
Because for me, the most interesting thing was Georgiou's flashbacks, but I have, like, a whole thing for the connection to the Discovery novel that I want to talk about that it takes some time. But
do it. Okay, let's start with our flashbacks. What do we think's going on here?
All right. So maybe I'll so we see Georgiou has these flashbacks. I slowed down some of it just to see what's going on. There's like a Terran Empire symbol, there's a dagger, there's blood, there's a hand, there's a body, there's something that's going on that seems traumatic, right? And I didn't catch this until the second time around, but she's shouting a name, and it's San, S-A-N. And as I was looking things up today for that name, I just came across, because I'd forgotten it, that is referenced in the Georgiou Discovery novel Die Standing by John Jackson Miller, which came out in July. And we had him on a few weeks ago. Of course, he couldn't say anything about it. But there is this connection, and I wanted to read a little bit from the book for these references. It doesn't give out anything for the book. I don't think it spoils it for you, Chrissy, since you haven't finished the book yet.
Oh, that's all right.
But just suffice it to say that in the novel, Giorgio at one point is having a dream. So here's what happens in that part. So it says, a dream began for her and she couldn't tell that she had fallen asleep. She was on Terra in the training center practicing, watching others practice fighting, young people, herself, and San, her beloved long-dead San. The Emperor stepped toward them, wondering why she hadn't been noticed yet. When San delivered a kick that put her younger self onto the floor, Giorgio stepped over to offer words of encouragement and a hand. Get up, the floor may be comfortable, but you can't stay down forever. She knelt closer. Open your eyes. And then after that, there's this part of that dream sequence that goes into the novel. So we're seeing that it's somebody who is beloved and has been dead for a long time. And then later in the book, there is a reference where someone is talking to her and says, listen to your friends, Philippa, and she says, friends are a luxury I have never had. That's not true. You did have a friend, San. And Giorgio says, I lost him early and in time to learn to live without. And then it kind of continues on in the story. So it was this little thing that was planted in the novel that I'd totally forgotten about since I read it 4 months ago. But it's apparently someone that was really beloved to Giorgio that died. And there's something around that from these flashbacks. So I wanted to add that and see like what you guys think based on that.
I like that.
I don't know
Brandon?
because I don't remember that scene in the book. It's been a while since I read it too, right? So,
but it's just like a reference. And those are the only places that character is referenced in the entire novel, are just those two little bits, setting up that it's someone that was important to her, a lover. It sounds like somebody who died young, and there was something going on. I mean, it seems like there's some traumatic death that's going on. I was trying to tell from what was going on in the flashbacks if it's something that she actually feels guilty about or regret or something that she hasn't acknowledged. But
I came up, the impression that I had from what I saw is that she came across this dead body and was surprised by it, or like this injured person and was surprised by it. That's the impression. That's
my
the feeling
impression was that she killed him.
Okay.
That was my thought too.
Okay.
See, that I had that thought, but then based on what's in the book, it made it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is the trauma. It's somebody she really loved but had to dispose of. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Until you brought that up about the name she was saying, because I didn't catch that. I thought it was Michael.
Thank you, subtitles, because I didn't catch that when I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Michael.
Yeah. And I thought maybe that, because we don't entirely know the circumstances around Mira Michael's death.
We don't. I think we only know that she betrayed Giorgio by siding with Lorca, right?
Right.
That's
and
all
so
that we know.
I was thinking we were going to find out that Giorgio had to kill Michael.
Right. Because we actually never got closure on that. It's like the mirror Michael was presumed dead. And they continued it on in the comics, but they don't necessarily have to follow that. But anyway, they're setting up something. I just don't know quite what.
Well, now that you say she might have killed him, I think she killed him because she was very mad because San stole her recipe for Kentucky Fried Ganglia.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yep.
Jeff, you would be horrified or laugh more if you'd seen that in season 1. But
and that works too, because you can have soup with chicken, and you can fry chicken, and you can
Oh wow.
Sure. I'm having chicken later and ganglia. So a comment or two. First, I find it interesting that you referred to that experience that she had as a flashback. Mm-hmm. I think I would have called it something more like a fugue state, or a sort of a dissociative episode. I mean, she was literally unaware of what was going on around her.
That's true.
And really, my question about all of that is, what is the cause? It's not just that is it okay? And by that I mean, is it something that's just happening in her brain because of unresolved trauma?
Yeah.
Why is that happening? Or is it something that's happening to her because she's from this other universe and has been away from it for a long time?
See, I thought, David Cronenberg's character last week, Kovic, caused this to come up in some way, because this episode is 3 weeks after the previous one, and she tells Michael it started a couple weeks ago. So I'm thinking whatever. I don't that Cronenberg's character did something to
or said something.
bring this up for what I don't know what reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and my interpretation is now when she encountered Georgiou in the hallway, she was having one of these episodes in the hallway.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think Cronenberg did this.
Yeah.
So
do you want to kill your theory that the Georgiou we're seeing is a hologram, Brandon?
no,
Not yet. Okay.
I don't think this disproves that theory yet at all. So
I'm
that could
gonna
be the.
step away from my thinking of that.
Sorry.
No, not at all. I'm going to go this one to the grave. I still think that Rios is a hologram.
Maybe it'll be revealed in season 2. Yeah.
He hasn't been proven not to be.
Yes. But so anyway, I want to talk about the flashback first because I think it's really interesting that there's that tie-in that gives us a little bit of information, but surely we'll get more. But I always love it when there's something that's planted in a book that they kind of pull forward. So that seems like it was very intentional. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree. So excellent. Okay, so now we've got this rescue mission, right? Where they've gone to rescue Book. Right, because we get the ship. Now, I do have a question about this, okay? So, I'm a little confused, and this is I just want this clarification just because I don't understand it. And how are these ships traveling? How fast are they going?
Warp.
How are they traveling?
I think they're going at warp.
Pardon me?
I think they're going at warp.
How?
Yeah.
They are going at warp?
I think so.
At least his is. Because that's why he wanted the
Yeah,
dilithium.
I mean, you see, it looks like warp travel based on what's going on outside the ship, yes.
Okay, so then it took 3 weeks for this ship to get to the Federation area, which I'm still don't understand how he knew where it was, but that's okay.
I think Michael sent him a message.
And it took her less than a couple hours to get back there?
So I wanted to ask you guys about this. I made a note about this. There was a point where one of the Emerald Chain folks called the thing that she or they found in Book's ship real dilithium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a theory I came up with based on what I knew. So this is what I'm going to say. There is real dilithium, which is what Discovery has, and then there's something else. And by that it's something. It's like faux dilithium.
It's like
something that works like dilithium but not as good.
Okay, like Neelix's not quite coffee substitute.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the ships that we're seeing who need 3 weeks to go on a jump that they could do in a few hours on the way back, it's because they had the real dilithium from Discovery.
Although it's the same ship going there and back. I don't know.
Yeah, but she gave him.
So this is like Spaceballs when they pour the what's the thing that yogurt gives them?
Liquid
Chrissy, help me out.
Schwartz.
Liquid Schwartz.
Liquid Schwartz. I thought I'd ask you guys because this was just me kind of trying to exactly what you're saying. Why are some of these ships so slow? And Discovery, Spore Drive aside, obviously seems to have something extra in the tank. And the only thing that makes any sense is they've got the dilithium that they brought from prior to the burn.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they haven't spoken
be
to this,
unless I mean, like, okay, so the ship goes from this camp over to the Federation headquarters with Grudge, and I don't know, maybe. So I'm thinking that Book knew where to go because Michael has been sending information to him about where they are when she shouldn't, but that there has to be like a roundabout route so that it's not traced back to the headquarters. But then if they go back, maybe they don't care. I don't know. That
would take the extra time.
It was a gap in the story, though. I agree. It took me out of it because I was like, what are the rules now around work? Because it exists in some form, but
it does. I mean, I think
they just have weak ass.
Well, I think we've been told though that it's just very scarce. So I thought that when he made the reference to real dilithium, there are people that are passing off stuff that seems like it's dilithium, but it's actually not.
Right. That's a good interpretation.
And he's like, "Oh, you got the real stuff, not just the cubic zirconium diamond or something." I don't know. Something that's not
Fool's
quite
dilithium.
maybe like looks like it, but it's not really. Yeah. But it's a good question, Brandon.
Interesting. So then adding this, so if they're not traveling at real warp or whatever, okay, so then They had a canon connection of the baryon sweep, and
Yes.
I'm like, well, baryon sweep is a product of traveling at warp.
No, I think
and
the
if these
Federation
ships
ships are going at warp. It's just very.
but it's still taking them weeks to get to places.
They may be going
I
to
have a theory
really
about
far away
that.
places, but go ahead.
Or
Go ahead,
we
Jeff.
do know that the faster you go, the higher the warp you go, the more dilithium you use. So maybe there's just this
To try to
basic rule
conserve
of
it.
warp 2,
Maybe.
except under, extreme duress. Again, I want to see some rules about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I don't need it all laid out like at the beginning of the first episode where they find the new Federation. But at some point, somebody lay out some rules. So.
Yeah, because I looked up baryon sweep online, and it said a baryon sweep is a procedure used to eliminate baryon particles from a starship. The baryons accumulate as a natural side effect of warp travel. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, these are just some questions that I had because of, like, Saru's like, I can jump there, I can do this, I can do that. Right? And these other ships, they have to take a long time to get there. Well, then why the time differential in 3 weeks for his ship to 2 hours? Like, that's also a pretty big, when she takes Book's ship back to get him. I'm just picking the number 2 hours. We don't even know the number. It could be less than that even.
I think it's longer.
Right, for her to get
I
there.
think it's
12
longer
hours.
than that.
But yeah, it's within 12 hours.
I don't know if it's
That she's there,
necessarily within
rescues
12
him, and
hours.
comes back.
I think she comes back after the window.
Could be. We don't know.
Oh,
So-
yeah, well, that would be... Because she said I could get there and back before the 12 hours
She
is
says
up,
that,
But that
but
would be
the-
with
but-
the Spore Drive and the Discovery. So...
No, I think she was not planning. She was never planning on taking the Discovery.
I mean, to me, it says
Oh,
that
I
she
didn't.
wasn't actually planning on being back within 12 hours. It was just going to take however much time it needed to do this and come
Yeah.
back. But it's a really good question. We do need to find out more about that.
Yeah, open
And
interpretation.
the answer might simply be plot hammer. You just,
Plot happened.
It could
Yeah.
be that
no, hammer.
the cat
Plot
is
hammer.
not good
You
at engineering.
Is easily distracted.
Maybe hit some buttons to slow it down, and take a
Something shiny over there.
take a detour over to the catnip exchange or something. Who knows?
Yes.
Anyway, I like seeing
Okay.
Grudge. Go ahead.
Okay, important side question. Jeff Lang, Spot or Grudge?
Oh. I'm.
Chrissy just gave me a nasty look.
It wasn't a nasty look. That's a
I-
hell of a question.
It is a hell of a question. I am very fond of cats. I have 5. Don't ask why, but I also have dogs. But anyway, I just saw Spot last night on a show, and I realized how much he looked like my wife's a dead cat of ours. And I adore Grudge. I think he's hilarious, but I really think he needs to have a little bit more personality than just this giant piece of furniture. The thing that they did today in this episode where he walked, Grudge is a he or she?
She.
Played by
Where she
Hait,
walked on Tilly's
Yeah,
back
true.
was the most cat thing I've seen him do so far. Other than
Yes.
otherwise he just is like a big. He's just a big fluffy pillow.
I think it's going somewhere, and there's more than meets the eye for Grudge.
So it's ISIS.
I think it's kind of like
Maybe.
that because Book keeps talking about like she's a queen. Maybe she is like a real queen that's in a cat form right now. But
She's the queen of the Cations.
that would be interesting. We do need more Cations.
We need more.
But yes,
Cations.
to answer your question, Brandon, Grudge for me. I love Grudge.
Grudge, Chrissy.
Grudge has a better
Choose.
Twitter personality
Oh,
anyway.
for
We're
sure.
Spot's Twitter personality.
No, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, Spot did allow them to figure out how to re-evolve everybody in Genesis. So there's
Yes,
that's some
lizards.
big
Yes.
points. You know, of things and people who have turned into lizards on Star Trek. There's only
That was
3. And
that was
they've all
season
had
7,
relevant-
so it took some years for Spot to be that useful.
Well, and Spot also appears to not be a single cat. Spot appears to be a series of cats.
That's true.
Or a cat who is hermaphroditic and can be both male and female at the same time.
And I also have to say that Grudge seems to be a remarkably pleasant cat, given the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's see where that name comes from.
I'm allergic to cats,
We'll-
so I don't like cats. I'm allergic to them. So
So am I, buddy. So am I.
You have
doesn't
5?
stop.
You had 5.
Lots of drugs. So many drugs.
Awesome. Okay, so let's jump back into the rescue mission here. So yes, this is totally gave me the feels of the Homecoming from Deep Space Nine, season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, even with like the force field fence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, even with the fence and whatnot. I was waiting for Kieran O'Brien to show up. So, but they did not. Alas, that was too bad. But I mean, I don't know. Like for me, I don't have much to say. I mean, they go, they steal some stuff, and they leave. I don't know. I don't. It was fine. This is the part where I'm like, whatever.
Extremely paint by numbers.
Yeah.
It was extremely like boom, boom, boom. Every rescue thing you've ever seen in any show ever, Star Trek and otherwise. This was it, and it was well done. I don't think it was poor. It just was not anything remarkable. I mean, I think Justin, to your point, the flashbacks, episodes, things. That's what made it interesting because they almost failed. But otherwise, the idea of these people having slave labor that they keep like putting things in the back of their head. It's not. I'm not saying it's something we've seen a million times, but we've seen it before. So
yeah,
I liked the programmable matter that his ship can completely change like that, and I liked seeing it fly through those buildings.
That was cool.
And so special effect wise, it was pretty stunning. But other than that, I'm like, eh. So Chrissie, I'll let you take it away. Did you have anything you want to say on this?
It was very standard fare for that, but I appreciated the little nods. The fact that they walk in and the first thing they're looking for is self-sealing stem bolts.
Oh yeah.
Put a smile on my face.
I wonder if the ones there were originally property of the No-J Consortium.
Quite possibly. They had a lot. And didn't Book say he was somewhere near the Bajor system when he found the
Bajoran exchange, which is cool.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And then we had a Bajoran there.
Let's see more Bajorans that don't get their heads blown off, please.
Yeah, that would
okay, so I assumed that was Bajor then. If it's the Bajoran exchange, I assumed that was Bajor.
No. The planet we went to, they called it Hunhao.
Well, yeah, they call it Hunhao, but was that the city or the planet?
But just because there's a Bajoran exchange, it could be an exchange run by Bajorans. It doesn't mean Bajor is anywhere nearby. Right?
Very true. So what was the exchange called in episode 1 then?
It was called that was called the Mercantile.
So like they didn't give it a species name, right?
So it's run by Bajorans. I don't think they're anywhere near Bajor. But
just because he found the thing at the Bajoran exchange doesn't mean that wasn't 2 weeks prior, and
that's true.
And now he's ended up here. I didn't think it was Bajor, but
can I talk about one of the things that I found out afterwards that I thought was really, really cool that maybe you don't know? So the end.
Is it about the Andorian?
It is. So maybe you do. But the Andorian Rin, who has the antennae sheared off, which is kind of an interesting character, but I love that was played by Mary Wiseman's husband, Noah Averbach-Katz, who's been having a lot of fun on Twitter with this because he's been a huge Star Trek fan since he's a kid. He's been posting like pictures of him in Star Trek uniforms when he was a kid and like behind the scenes stuff on this. So listeners, you should go to Twitter and follow. It's at the capital letters N_A_K. But anyway, I thought that was really cool that he was in that. I had no idea.
Do you think they're going to keep him on as a a continuing
I'm not
character?
Sure.
There are no other Andorians, are there, so far?
No, yes, we have seen Andorians in the first episode because they were running the Mercantile. But
right.
But yeah. Anyway, I just love that. So
yeah.
Just one more comment about the whole breakout thing. Was anybody else surprised by the fact that Philippa was just blowing guys up?
No, because she's from the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, I think that's her
but
thing.
Michael didn't object. She was not in any way disturbed or distressed by this.
Yeah, I mean, this actually goes back to something that I thought bothered me about Michael's character a bit in the first episode, where she's just disintegrating people because their weapons seem to do that, at least in that first episode. But yeah, I mean, it seems like over the course of the year that she was with Book, I think she got more comfortable with this level of violence, it seems like. So something has changed in her character. I think that's really interesting. I think I've said that Burnham is my favorite character in Discovery, and I think it keeps getting more complicated and interesting for me because she really runs this line between those things. But yeah,
excellent. Okay, yeah, I don't know that we have much more to add on the rescue? Anything?
I guess
right now?
We'll definitely see this Osira that is referenced by the nephew. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think the Emerald Chain. Okay, here's the interesting thing about the Emerald Chain, because I think we've made the assumption that that's an Andorian Orion thing exclusively. But toward the beginning of the episode, Vance says he confirms it's the Andorian Orion Syndicate in this part of the quadrant. So someone else may run that Emerald Chain elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Kind of like it's like a gangster corporation, and there's different people running it in different areas.
Yeah. So we'll see more and see what happens with that. Yeah. So I want to also say, because the big thing for Burnham was looking for the black box, and I was thinking, like, don't we usually call those, like, log buoys or data recorders or whatever? And there are places where things are referenced for ships as black boxes, like an Enterprise. So, but anyway, I think it's not too often that we think of like a black box for a starship, but there it is.
And then that was the same kind of thing that she was getting in episode, like she was telling about in the flashbacks of episode 3, I guess it was.
Yeah,
so.
and that's going somewhere where she'll have enough to be able to say like where and when it happened. So, yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic here, Saru and Tilly. So, I really liked the scene with Saru and Tilly, but I also was bothered by the scene with Saru and Tilly.
Of course you were.
Because... What's that?
I said, of course you were.
Well, okay, so, can you picture Janeway going to Harry Kim to discuss problems with Chakotay? Can you picture Kirk going to Chekhov to discuss problems with Spock?
But there's a specific reason. They're still roommates, as far as we can tell.
Which is weird, because she's a first officer. But even still, like, would he go to the ensign of the ship? Would any other captain go to the ensign of the ship for advice on how to deal with the first officer of their ship?
Forget that it's the first officer.
Yeah.
And think of it. Think of it more like Janeway going to Harry Kim looking for Tom Paris.
Yeah. She's going to someone's friend to try to get some help and figure out what goes on. For me, it made perfect sense. Because who else knows Michael as well? Yeah.
And they've already established that Saru has a particular fondness or trust in Tilly. They have a particular kind of relationship that is a little bit above Captain Ensign. So I did not. No, that didn't bother me one bit. Any other person, yes, I think it would have bothered me. But because it was Tilly, I was totally fine with it.
Sure, I don't know. It bugged me. That's all. It just felt so weird. But it was a really good scene because Tilly gave him some really good advice, right? And that's the interesting thing. Now, we're gonna probably blend a bit into the Saru and Burnham stuff here. And Chrissy, please don't take this the wrong way.
What are you going to say?
Based on something you said last week. Okay, so we were talking last week with Katie, right? And you were like, it felt petty of Saru to bring up that I thought by now you would have known better. And at the time I said, no, I don't think it was petty at all. And I think this is an interesting dance that we've got going on with Saru right now. I'm not certain that Saru is the greatest captain, right? And he's growing, and he's still learning, and he's got a lot of problems. And I see a lot of myself in Saru right now. Like, I've told you guys in the past that I was a store manager, and I was a very bad store manager, right? I was a very bad store manager. I didn't do very well with dealing with my staff. And Saru's in a very interesting position where he wants something out of Michael that Michael's not able to give him. And he wants to keep giving Michael that benefit of the doubt. And, so with Tilly saying, look, you have to go to the Admiral and tell him, otherwise we're all going to get painted with the same tainted brush that is Burnham right now. And I'm so glad that Burnham said at the end, you did the right thing, Saru. Because I can see a lot of people being upset with Saru for the same reason, like last week you were upset saying that he was being petty when he said that thing last week, and I don't think he was, right? So I hope you understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah, no, given the events of this week's episode, I don't think he was being petty anymore. I think he is.
Yeah.
He is pretending to be more comfortable with her than he was.
Okay.
Or is.
Right.
Yeah. But with that standing alone, it felt
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fascinating because, like, we do have a problem here with Saru and his command ability.
I disagree.
Because, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, well, it'll be interesting to talk about because Saru made a bad call. When Burnham brought this idea to him about going to rescue Book, he should have taken that idea to the Admiral. That's what the chain of command is for, and he didn't do that. He made an assumption as to what the Admiral was going to do, and even when they were getting in trouble at the end, the Admiral himself said, "You should have told me because I may have actually let her do this thing."
Yeah, okay, so here's why I disagree. I think, from what we've seen in Star Trek, that it's a fine line between a captain saying, no, and we're not going to do that, and like, oh, that's, something I need to push up further to an admiral. Because I think what's really going on here is that they have had a fraught relationship, but I think it had improved since early on in Discovery to the point where I think as you're getting into season 2, he does trust her more and feels like he knows who she is, right? But there's been this period of time, this year that Burnham has been away, where she's changed somewhat. And I think what's happened is that Saru was trying at the beginning to be like, okay, I know that you may have changed or things have happened, but I'm asking you to kind of bring forward those things that I've seen before and to develop that. And he's giving her a chance. I mean, I think he gave her the chance with this. It didn't work out, and he's demoting her, which I think is altogether the right thing to do. Because if every time, like, Burnham came and she was like, oh, should we do this? Oh, let me bump that up to the Admiral. I mean, like, I think that, I mean, it also happens because I've done some, supervising people in my time. There is this decision you have to make because you can't bump everything up. Like somebody comes to you with something and you're like, oh, let me ask the person above me who is really busy and has other things on their mind. So there is that fine line. And I think this is the first time where he's just like, okay, let's just see if this works out. If it doesn't, we're in trouble here. And he has to demote her, right? And then see where it goes. I think the really interesting thing that's going on here is at the very end of the episode when Burnham says you're doing the right thing, and after Saru walks away, pulls off the badge, which to me says maybe she's a little bit done with Starfleet at this point, which maybe is the right decision. Maybe where this show is going is that Starfleet isn't right for her and she can play a role working with Discovery, but in some other capacity. So I don't think Saru is a bad captain here. I think that he may have made a mistake, but I think it's a mistake that's very easy for anyone to make. And he is saying, like, there are consequences for this. I'm demoting you, right? Like, and if it goes on further, it'll have to go further, right? You have to, like, see how it's going, give people a warning, and right. So to me, it felt like he's not a bad captain. I think he's doing well in an incredibly difficult and incredibly unusual situation they find themselves in.
Yeah.
Jeff?
I'll sign off on most of what Justin said. My main question about that was, well, the first word I wrote down after I finished watching the whole episode was reset. Mm-hmm. In that it felt like the first 5 episodes were like a little mini arc, and now we're starting the next little mini arc, and they're kind of going, okay, we're going to reset some things. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they're resetting, I think, or setting up is the idea that Michael, I think what you were just saying, might not continue to be a Starfleet person. Mm-hmm. Or if she is, it's going to be in some other capacity. Yeah. For the simple reason that I suspect that the writers came to the, I believe, correct conclusion that we can't do this show with Captain Saru and First Officer Burnham. It's not interesting. They have to be in conflict. They have to be in conflict for this show to keep having the kind of interesting chemistry that I feel like season 3 has had. And if we go back to, you're my number one, it's like, no, it's every other Star Trek show. I mean, I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. I mean, it's not plowing its own road. I think that's what this was all about.
Interesting.
Again, I'm going to use plot hammer in that the writer's room decided we can't have Michael be the first officer anymore. How do we get her out of that? She has to go off and do something that she wasn't supposed to do. And then you start working your way backward. And that's, I feel, kind of what that A plot was about. With probably a good outcome, which is going to take me to the other thing I wanted to talk about, if we're kind of shifting here, is what is the shift in the relationship between Burnham and Book. How did you guys feel about that?
I mean, I think we knew that was coming.
Yeah.
No,
I wasn't surprised by it.
It didn't have to come. I disagree.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it had to come, but I think we'd seen some previews where we knew that was coming.
Oh, no, I didn't see previews, but I just assumed that they were in a relationship. I mean, even at the beginning of this episode where I was getting the impression in this one and previous as well that she was interested in him. Yeah, and when they're like, we haven't done anything in the last year, I was actually surprised to get that.
I wasn't surprised by that.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah. I really enjoyed the fact that they were doing this thing of, no. I mean, of course, eventually, I guess. But I don't know. I was a little disappointed. It felt like we went to that a little too soon.
I can see what you mean, and it's not often enough, I think, that you have two people that could potentially be in a relationship and they just don't do it, but they're just really good friends. Like there is this kind of, writers are always wanting to like put people together, and you don't necessarily have to. But I mean, now that it's happening, I'm like, I think they have really good chemistry. It works for me.
Those actors have incredible chemistry. So, oh my God! Yeah,
I was frustrated to the nines when they decided to put Mulder and Scully together in X-Files. Like as a teenage kid, I'm like, I want to see a show. I don't want my two leads to be sleeping together every week, And when they finally decided to get them in a relationship, I'm like, come on, And there's other people who are just like, have they been in love the whole time? And I'm like, I don't know what show you're watching, but that's fine. And it's different fandom, right? And that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. So I feel the same way about Janeway and Chakotay. They had their chance on the planet, and then they said, no, we're done. So, but there's fans who were like, the whole time they were together, and it's like, well, okay, that's your interpretation, and that's fine. So, you know.
But I mean, I think what you found in this episode was, her caring about him and her loyalty to him definitely goes above what might be best for Starfleet, because she was going on this mission not only for that black box, but I think because Book's life was in danger, is like, I gotta do this. So I mean, what does that mean? They're gonna maybe both go off together for a little bit, off a Discovery to find out more. I don't know.
I got a theory. I'll come back to that. So, Chrissy, I want to get your impression on Saru and Burnham there.
Well, I'm gonna start with Saru and Tilly because
yes.
Because she made some comment to the effect of, I might have done the same thing. And Saru says that he'd like to think that she wouldn't. And that shows very much the difference of how they understand Michael. She's a role model for Tilly. Tilly looks up to her, even though she does recognize that she has faults. Okay. Yeah. But she looks up to her and she sees her as a role model. Saru, I was writing this out, and I said, he went at the beginning, going all the way back, he's essentially a rival for the first officer position. Okay.
Right.
And then there is this shift where she becomes completely dangerous to him because of he perceives her as having started the war. And then there's this shift back where they are, again, kind of having a potential rivalry, but not really. And now we're at this point where they're supposed to be able to work together, and I don't know that they ever had a time that they did work well together on their own. And so I think that's coming into it, too. They don't know how to function with each other outside of someone else's orders to do so.
Yeah, and also that scene where Saru says, no, Tilly, I don't think you would have done that. I think he's right. I think that the way that Tilly thinks about things and goes about things, I don't think she could do those things to go like so far outside of what she's been ordered to do, I think.
That's true.
Not yet. Maybe later.
And this goes to what I was saying about about Burnham just saying to hell with the chain of command and having this rebellion because she's, and we have to remember too is that like she didn't go through the academy. She grew up on Vulcan where everything is very regimented, but she didn't actually have the indoctrination involved in Starfleet Academy.
Very true. Yes,
right. Yeah.
You know, there's different mentality there.
Yeah.
Well, good observation.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure. Like, I don't have a problem with what Burnham did. I'm okay with what Burnham did, and I'm okay with the result of this. Last week I had said, that scene where he's like, "Get our hands on." I'm like, that what Burnham said felt very Star Trek, but Saru is also very right in that you shouldn't be talking that way. Yeah. And I've been trying to come to terms with that, and I think I've come to terms with it this week as well. Like, we do see Starfleet officers buck the rules and do stuff without permission. They kind of go off and do their own thing, right? And that's not what Saru needs right now. But if Burnham's made the decision that it's more important for her to save Book, that's fine. People make decisions like that all the time. They just have to live with the consequences of their actions. And in this case, the consequence of her action is that she's no longer first officer. Somebody else, I saw a Twitter exchange, and I don't tend to get involved with them, but somebody was complaining about Burnham, blah, blah, blah. She's terrible and Buck in command. And they're all like, how would you feel about Kirk? Because he did this in Star Trek 3. And I'm like, well, okay. Now, first of all, it is different because Kirk was the captain. It's different because Kirk and Spock have at that time, 25-year relationship, right? So there is something different there. But Kirk also did what Burnham did in that he fully accepted his actions. The word is no. I am therefore going anyway because Spock is more important to me than anything. And Burnham made the decision, the word is no. I'm still going anyways because Book is more important to me right now at this time. And she can say that she went for the black box, but I believe, based on how the episode ended, that she went for Book. Right.
Yes.
So, and she
and
went
maybe
right with
even rationalized to herself that it was about getting the black box.
Yeah.
But she knows at the end. She's like, "You've made the right call, Saru," and I do believe that Saru made the right call. So I believe that this action was true for the character of Burnham. Now, I think that's very interesting, Justin, that you called it out as well. That what does that mean when she took off her badge? Yeah. Because normally when people do that in Star Trek, they're throwing resigning. It down saying, "I quit."
Yeah.
Right? And so we can't help but think that. So my thought process then went to, what does this mean? And I don't know if this is where we're going, but I kind of think this might mean that she's going to leave Starfleet. And my thought process leads it to, what if she ends up on the Section 31 show with Georgiou?
Oh,
that would be wild. I don't know if they'll do that.
Yeah, so...
But she's in season 4.
Do we know that?
Yes. I mean, they've been talking about who's been filming.
But they have...
Is Georgiou in season 4?
Yes.
So I don't think Georgiou is,
but they haven't started
I think Burnham
filming.
Is. No, they have started filming season 4.
Oh, 1 second here.
Yeah.
They haven't started filming Section 31 yet.
True.
Right? So Section 31 is going to be coming after season 4. Right? So they have started filming season 4 of Discovery. What if Burnham ends up on Section 31?
Well, I hadn't thought about that, but I don't know.
No. I mean, the arc for this sort of a story is that the character who is the protagonist of the story, the protagonist leaves the familiar place, goes off, has an adventure, learns some sort of an important lesson, and then comes back to the home. And because of the thing that they did while they were off on their adventure, they can do something, take some pivotal action that the more kind of staid, structured characters couldn't do. But she will I will bet my house on this. She will leave and she will reintegrate with the ship.
Well,
and
what do you know about writing stories, Jeff?
Not nearly as much as I wish I did or sound like sometimes. that is the. I think that's just the classic arc. That's
And
where
I'm
they're
just coming
going.
at this from the fan looking for the ridiculous plot conspiracies. So you are probably right. Yes.
Is Burnham a hologram? Has Burnham been a hologram all along, Brandon?
I don't know. Was she in a scene with Cronenberg? So, anyways, yeah, you are probably right, Jeff. So,
Well.
but this leads to the question: who do you think they're going to make the first officer? And I know who I think it's going to be.
I thought about that from the perspective of who has been like sitting in the chair for command when the two of them have been away. I don't know. I guess I think Nilsson. Don't know. Mm-hmm. What do you?
Yeah, the one who gets the chair. I mean, that's
Well,
that would be it, isn't it?
but they've had different people. I think they had Reese in one episode in there, and I don't think Bryce was, but I think Reese and Nilsson. I'm not sure who else did, but it's some lieutenant on the bridge. I don't know.
Here's a possibility: they'll bring in a new character, somebody who's a resident of that era, because they're going to say, "Well, you might need somebody who knows more about what's going on here."
Oh, that's what's going to happen next week. It's going to be some Vulcan descendant of Spock's family. No, probably not.
Vulcan Romulan descendant.
Yeah.
Vulcan Romulan.
But Chrissy, who do you think?
It hadn't occurred to me that they'd bring in somebody new, but it actually would make
hadn't
sense
either.
for the Admiral to take that opportunity to say, "Oh, you're going to take so and so," and then that person
They'll
is
keep an eye on you.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
Yeah,
Willa, who
it's
we've already
observing.
seen.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. There's nobody else that really seems like they're gearing for command. Neither
Yeah,
Roskin
Except
or
for
Detmer.
Tilly.
Well, Tilly's an ensign. I don't think they
She'd
would.
have-
do
he'd
that.
have a
No,
huff
but
tough
that's what I
time.
think they're going to do is
Yeah,
Tilly.
but I think you would only in this context see an ensign do that if there are no lieutenants available or commanders.
Right.
I
I
think.
don't know.
All the
He's
way down
gone
the
to
line.
her and he's mentoring
I
her.
really
don't know. I
don't
could just see
think
it. I don't
so.
know that they should. I don't think they should, but I
No.
think that's what they're going to do.
No,
I think bringing in somebody from the outside also
That would be interesting.
brings in a lot of options for conflict,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is what you want.
Yeah.
You want some friction, and these
Ooh.
people all love each other. I mean, they just are so
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with one another. You got to put a little sand in the Vaseline.
A little Shelby in there. Yeah.
it's a hell of an image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had a couple
so
things
is there...
I wanted to talk about. Just brief things
Do it.
because I think they're fun. Because we haven't talked about it. I kind of love Linus just beaming in out of the blue. I thought it was funny.
It was a cute gag.
It was
Yes.
cute. Also, I don't know if it was completely obvious, but so Burnham had this wrist thing that Book had to locate Grudge that she was reconfiguring to locate Book. And, yes, and a little meow every time it did something. I thought that was like one of the most unexpected things. I almost fell out of my chair because it was just so funny. So anyway,
Yeah, in my house, when that happens, you go, what's wrong with the cat? And then you go, oh,
it's on
the
screen.
TV. Oh.
But I just thought that was great because
Yeah.
nobody acknowledges it in dialogue, but it's just like a little meow when she turns it on. Anyway, so those are the two things besides canon connections.
Excellent. Anything else? Anything we missed talking about, Jeff, that you want to talk about to address?
I just one thing, which is I'm still getting used to the pace of this show, which is not a thing that is filmed for broadcast TV. I mean, I know they're putting the first season on broadcast TV, and obviously they do cut things. But that last, I don't know, whatever it was 10 minutes of the show. It was after the adventure stuff.
Yeah.
Just people having conversations.
Yeah.
And they were interesting conversations and they were worthwhile. But that's the sort of thing that I'm used to getting packed into the last like 3 or 4 minutes. And they just let it breathe, and it's really lovely. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've loved that too. Yeah.
Excellent. Chrissy, anything we missed that you want to talk about?
No, nothing to think of.
Should I go over my
got it.
long list of canon connections?
The only thing
have?
that I want to address, and this
Yeah.
didn't really fit anywhere, is with Saru being the captain, because they chose independently. Starfleet didn't appoint him, right?
Yes.
They chose independently before they came across Starfleet. So technically, if you want to look at it, Saru doesn't really have the authority to be the captain of the ship right now.
Well, I guess
Okay.
I don't know. I just assume they just kind of formalized that, and we just didn't see that. But you think they put
When did
another
he get
captain?
promoted to captain?
He never was. So Pike was captain in season 2, and he left, and then they all went to the future. And in episode 3, Burnham's like, "You go ahead, you be the captain."
No. But the admiral called him captain.
Right?
Yes.
He didn't call him commander.
Well, he was introduced
Yeah.
to
Because
it.
when
what
I
I
met
thought-
him, he was wearing the captain
But
badge.
I just got the sense that they were just like accepting of it and like, let's formalize this. I don't get any sense that they're going to get rid of Saru as captain. But
No. I'm just saying that when the admiral called him captain, I was like, wait, has he said that before? Or did he call him commander previously?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
He's always been captain with the admiral.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
That could have been something
Awesome.
with the original idea of breaking everybody up. They might have knocked him back down, but
You want to do the canon connections?
Yeah,
Justin?
let's do it. So in one of the scenes in Starfleet Command, there is, in that ring of captains, there's a female Cardassian captain, which is awesome. We've only seen Cardassians in the background. Let's see one with a speaking part. So, also one of the captains, Captain Rama, that I don't even know the best way to describe it, kind of octopus-like head. This is a species called Osnulus. They've never said it on screen, but that we've seen at different parts of Discovery, and this is the first time they've seen them speak, so that was cool.
Is that not the same one as the commander on the ship?
This is a 32nd century. No, I think this is one of that species from the 32nd century.
Right, because I just assumed that was the same alien species as the one that's on the ship.
No, it's the same species. Yes, but it's not the same person. Oh yeah, but it's the same species.
No, I didn't think it was the same person. I thought it was the same species.
It is the same species, yeah, called Osnulus, which is cool. There's a mention of Beta 6, which was referenced in Squire of Gothos. There's a mention of Cortinum, which is from the Voyager episode Investigations. I think that's the first place it's mentioned. Okay, so also, when they're in command, and you see Vance, there's this like holographic image that has a bunch of names on it that's backwards, and if you reverse it, there's a whole bunch of references in there. There's a reference to Benicia, which is from Benicia Colony, I think, from Conscience of the King and Turnabout Intruder. Beta Niobe from All Our Yesterdays. It went Nova, but I guess there's still a remnant of it there. Halka, which is presumably home to the Halkans, which actually...
From Mirror Mirror?
From Mirror Mirror, yeah. But actually, I don't think they give the planet name as Halka in the episode. It's actually given that name in the novel Dark Mirror, the Diane Duane novel. So that was cool. There's a mention of Minos Corvo, which is what Goldman Dredd was asking Picard about the defense plans of in Chain of Command 2. It says Setlik on the screen, which we think about for Setlik 3, which gets referenced in The Wounded and elsewhere for the Cardassian War. Starbase 47 is there, which is a Vanguard reference, really, which is really cool novel reference. Talos from The Cage is referenced. Starbase 21, which is referenced in the animated series episode How Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth. Some of these are going to get even deeper cut. So there's another one that references Algol, which is the homeworld of the Algolians, which are mentioned in TNG's Menage a Trois, and you briefly see one in the TNG episode Cupid playing some hanging chime instrument. It says on there Orion's planet, so O''RYAN, and that is actually part of the backstory that was created for an alien that's seen in the background of like the transport station in the motion picture. It's super crazy deep cut.
I love that.
There's another mention. There's a mention of Iridan, which I think is It's referenced in a Discovery episode, War Without, War Within, part of the Klingon War. And then finally, there's reference to Aldebaran, which gets lots and lots of different references for their drinks and other things in TOS, Star Trek VI, Next Generation, Enterprise, and also Discovery. So, like, just on that one like holographic image, there were a bunch of interesting references.
Wow.
So it's
Somebody had
awesome.
fun.
it's crazy how deep some of these go as well. So
Some novel references. What do you think of that, Jeff?
Too.
I want residuals.
Well, we'll let you know when it's a reference that happens in one of your novels.
Excellent. Any final thoughts, Jeff? Anything else you want to talk about before we get your contact information? Anything else on the episode? Any predictions?
Oh, I think I've already given 2 or 3 really good predictions, so I'm done there.
Justin, Chrissie, anything else?
I am
I think
just
I'm good.
hopping for next week. I'm like,
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So no, for me, I really enjoyed the episode again. Least favorite, but still like lots and lots of good stuff, lots of great character stuff, and moving the story along. Okay, and we've talked about it and teased it for weeks. Next episode is called Unification 3, which is in some way a sequel to TNG's Unification 1 and 2. I'm definitely going to rewatch that. I think I'm going to put up a poll as well to ask people, like, do you think in this episode it means the Vulcans and Romulans are reunited, that they'll help to reunite the Federation? Both of those, something else? I don't know. But in the preview, we saw lots of Vulcans and presumably Romulans, and I'm just like, I don't know, just super excited about that and where that's going and what that means. And on Discovery, we've seen a bunch of Vulcans, right? Which is cool. But to see them in the 32nd century will also be cool. But Discovery was also restricted for not showing Romulans because they hadn't shown their faces yet by the time, first 2 seasons are taking place. Now they can, right? And there's all of this stuff that happened in Picard with the supernova, like all this stuff. Like, I don't know how that's playing in, but I'm really kind of excited to see what it means for where Vulcans and Romulans are. So,
Geez, yeah, they shouldn't know what Romulans look like.
Yeah, unless they're briefed about it, right? Like they wouldn't
That'll
have
be
known
interesting.
when they left.
Burnham will be like, yeah, we knew that. We just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
she was on Vulcan.
I mean, of course they
Actually,
would
yeah,
know
she
about.
might know.
Yeah,
Because Spock knew.
yeah.
I
It
think,
seems like there was some knowledge
Yeah.
on Vulcan, so maybe she
you know-
would. But I wonder how they'll treat that, because for the
Yeah.
rest of the crew, like they shouldn't know. Yeah.
Well, that
Anyway.
would have been taught as part of history on Vulcan, the Sundering. So,
Yeah, right. Excellent.
Anyway, yes.
Jeff.
Next week.
Thank you so much for joining us for the discussion today. We truly
you
appreciate
for
you taking the
inviting me.
time. Where can people
a great
find you
week.
online? And what current projects are you working on that you can tell us about?
These days, the only place you can find me online is on Facebook, and that is if I happen to look at it. I've kind of cut the whole social media thing.
That's how I got in
my-
contact with
my
you, so you
profile.
must check it every once in a while.
I remember the day I saw. That was one of the days I was like, "Oh, I got somebody sent me a message." My God! So thank you. I'm really glad I at least keep that going. If you want to friend me on Facebook, I mean, why would you? But if you want to, sure. I'd love to see that. And I'm working on a book. I've been. It was my 2020 project. I'm about 2/3 of the way done, and when it's finished, I hope everybody will buy it and read it. And
But you
that's all I'm
can't
gonna
tell us
say
what it is?
about
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say before you go, I have read some of your Star Trek novels, in particular the DS9 Section 31 novel Abyss, and then the DS9 novel Force in Motion, and just really enjoyed them. Just wanted to thank you for that, and hopefully,
Thank you.
since that last one was 4 years ago, that they'll bring you in to write some Star Trek stuff in the future. I can hope.
I would be happy to do that. But that's.
I know
that's
it's not
to other
up to
people.
me, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
but yes, again, thank you, and I still have some more of your stuff to read that I haven't read so far.
Fantastic. I look forward to hearing from you.
I had a theory on the next book that I wanted to, the next Discovery novel that I wanted to put out there into the
Okay.
ether, that I think I know what it's going to be about. And I think that the next Discovery novel is going to be Burnham's Missing Year.
That would make sense.
oh, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic idea.
So I think that's how we're going to find out about what happened. So
Do we know if there's one coming out in 2020?
there's one coming in May, I
We,
guess.
is there?
Do we know who's
Yeah.
doing it?
I don't know. I just heard.
I think you're right. Like I think somebody found an indication, like from the Amazon listing. There's one in May, but I don't think we know who's doing it yet.
No,
So
but that would be my guess.
that would
So,
be really cool. Yeah.
excellent. Justin, where can people find you when you're not disobeying my orders and going to save the love of your life?
Hell yeah, I'm going to disobey your orders for that. Okay, so you don't have any authority over me anyway, do you? I hope not. Because you said you're a terrible
I'm the
manager.
captain of this show.
No, you said you're a terrible
I'm
manager.
not a good one, but I'm the captain of the
Okay.
show.
All right. But no, in reality, you do a great job helping to run the network. All right. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at TrekFan4747, where I tweet about nothing but Star Trek. And you can find me in our Facebook group, Federation Council Chambers, and hope you'll join us there to talk about this episode and others on the United Federation of Podcasts.
Chrissy, where can people find you, meat sack?
Well,
you have an
I
obsession.
am.
That's the second time you've called
Yeah.
her meat sack. What? Okay.
Going with it.
Such a weird line, meat sack. Like, she's a meat
Giorgio.
sack too. I don't know. It's just weird.
Giorgio.
It is a weird line. I will give you that. All right, so I'm on Twitter at the Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. And you can also follow my work in history by reading the webpage my fellow historian partner Jason and I run, and that is History with the Szilagys at historywiththeszilagys.org. And Szilagyi is spelled Szilagys. And right now we're in a bit of a lull because of exam time, but hopefully after the Thanksgiving break we'll be getting some more stuff posted.
Excellent. And as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. I'm here on the network with another show called Franchise Fatigue, which is all about movies, remakes, and sequels. And we will be wrapping up our Planet of the Apes series this week. And the week after that, we'll be starting our series on The Thing from Another World, The Thing from '82, and The Thing from 2011. And
Awesome.
I'll be recording our episode on the 2011 one tonight, right after we're done here. So I just got to rewatch that one for the first time since theaters. So it was nice to revisit that one. You can find me also on the Fandom Podcast Network with a show called Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, where my friends Chris, Tom, and myself cover Hitch's films in chronological order, and over on the Nerd Party Network with a show called House of Fincher, and it'll be transitioning into House of Nolan, where we cover David Fincher's works and David Nolan's work. And that's about all I'm working on right now. Thank you very much for tuning into Infinite Diversity. Thank you to our executive producers, Ken Tripp, Tony Robinson, and Zach Moore. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Tony Robinson for the awesome show art. Please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, and please subscribe. If you want to reach out, you can find us on Twitter at UFP Earth or at IDIC Podcast. We also have a new Facebook group for the United Federation of Podcasts called Federation Council Chambers, where you can discuss the episodes for this show or any of the UFP podcast shows. You can email us at infinitediversity@ufp.earth. And next week we'll be discussing episode 7 of Discovery's 3rd season called Unification 3.
Yes.
Until then, peace and long life, meatbags.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.
It is the same species, yeah, called Osnalis, which is cool.
The giant ballsack head alien?
Don't call it that. Cut that out, Chrissy. Anyway.
What did I do?
No, I'm saying when you edit the episode, cut that out. I don't want to hear that. That's something that you did. Just edit it.
Chrissy, you're my whipping boy. Brandon said something bad, so Justin can get mad at you.
When you edit it, cut that
Now you
part
can't
out.
cut it out. This is too funny.
Okay. All right. So other things.